Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are joined now by the unstoppable Renekton from last game, TSM's Dyrus. Now, Dyrus came into that game as a third-place team versus a sixth-place team. How'd you feel coming into that match?
I don't know about dominating Renekton, but coming into that match, I was pretty nervous. I actually noticed during the game that my fingers were giving a little stutter, and that's how I noticed that I was more nervous than other games.
When's the last time you've actually been nervous for a match?
Every time I don't have my pillow.
But, I mean, why is it, I mean, there's obviously a lot of reasons why you'd be nervous coming to this match. There's a lot on the line coming into Super Week, but do you want to talk us through, like, what was making you nervous before this game?
One of the big things was the picks. The first two picks, it's like, oh, we should have picked Sona MF. And then the other thing was that Mega Zero played Malphite, and then I was like, wow, I can't play a lot of my champions versus this except one. Or actually two, but I'm not going to say who that is. But I wasn't as comfortable, and Renekton was just the safest pick overall. And it actually turned out okay. Me and Odd1 played the first two right. We baited the first blood. And then just seeing the Twitch pick after, I was like, we never play Twitch, and they have Malphite. And I was like, oh my god, our team comp looks kind of scary. Like, it's pretty much the same team comp we play against Curse, except instead of MF is Twitch. And Malphite is a very big disruption, and I think our team underestimated that a little bit, and I know that the best.
Because Freak and I were asking about that in Champion Select when you did pick Twitch after the Malphite was locked in, and you said just now that you're having issues with that. Why did you pick Twitch then?
Wild Turtle, he was like, I should play Twitch here. And we're like, oh, we don't play Twitch. And he's like, no, I think I should play Twitch here. I'm like, all right, whatever you want to play. And I kind of looked at it as Twitch kind of similar to MF in terms of, like, you know, the long range ult. But at the same time, they had Malphite, and every time I Malphite against Twitch, it usually turns out well for me, unless it's against CLG with their 4 supports. But you know, yeah.
So talk to me about your top lane Renekton. You baited the first blood against, or with the Odd1 for the first blood. How did you end up trying to play that lane matchup?
The first step was getting the lane matchup. For Malphite, it's favorable with TP that he gets the 1 versus 2. And that's why our bot lane was behind, because they didn't get to do Wolves, or they were kind of late. And Nasus didn't get a camp either. So the first step was getting there. So I got there, and then it's just laning against Malphite. Malphite has 0 kill pressure on me. And if we see Jarvan ganks, or if Jarvan even ganks, I'm just going to walk away with my E and Fort Pot. And we usually can't really kill Malphite in lane. I can only out-sustain and out-push him, which is what I did. But, sorry, I just went blank there.
So you out-push, out-sustain him. How did you transition that into the team fights? What was your goal there?
Just to be a very, very big tank. And I was going to go Sunfire Cape, but I didn't really need the AoE damage as much for the pushing, because I'm already Renekton, I'm against Malphite. And I just want to get as much HP as possible and sustain as possible so I can survive against Cat later, because Sunfire is not going to do anything against Cat. And I want to have some kind of damage, so I built into Brutalizer, into Black Cleaver, so that way they won't just ignore me, because usually what will happen is you'll get ignored if you don't have enough magic damage from Sunfire or ult, depending on their team comp.
And at the end of the game, usually when we see teams win, they kind of like jump up out of their chairs, they start high-fiving and shaking hands and stuff. After that game, you guys just sat in your chairs for a good 5 or 10 seconds. Do you want us to talk about why that happened?
We've had this problem before, but it came up again. But it doesn't come up as often anymore. We've gotten really good at it. It's our communication. Reggie made a call that we should go to Baron, and 3 of us were like sitting around middle, pushing mid and clearing wards, which is not so bad. It's kind of 50-50. But since no one said anything, and Reggie's making a call, and he's the only one running Baron, I'm like in between, and I'm like, guys, listen to the call. I don't want to lose. All we had to do was wait for the creeps to push in. I don't know why they're pushing in. I wasn't even keeping track of it, but in that situation, it's very favorable. We just keep backing up, wait till creeps push in, and then we follow them, and then they fight, and then we win.
Great.
But we were just talking about that.
Cool.
All right, well, of course, congratulations on your win, and you're basically firmly into second place right now. See if you guys can hold on to it for the rest of Super Week and get the automatic bye. Once again, thank you very much, Darius, for your time. Good luck in the rest of your matches. But the next matchup of the day, the next matchup of Super Week is Complexity versus Good Game University. 2 weeks ago, these teams were both stuck at the bottom of the standings and playing with a new starting lineup. After some huge wins for both teams in the last couple of weeks, it looks like their recent roster changes could turn the team's seasons around.
And Complexity is coming into this match after a huge upset of Dignitas earlier today, and they also believe they've got GGU figured out.
GGU pretty much just has a pretty overall predictable playstyle, I guess.
They seem to have two really styles of play. The first style of play is po-comp, and the second style is make match me play Twitch. He makes plays when he's on Twitch.
I think mechanic-wise, we are stronger, so we just have to win the lane phase and then secure all of the objectives.
GGU's actually done really well the last couple of weeks. People don't give them the recognition they deserve.
There's nothing special we have to do. We just have to play our own game, and we'll just be able to beat them.
Wow, nothing special they have to do. You heard that from Zion Spartan. So Complexity is feeling confident after their upset over Dignitas, but GGU is coming off an amazing Week 9 where they went 3-0, jumping into 5th place. And they didn't even have their starting support. Of course, he got ganked the week before by Vulcan.
Yeah, and Zion Spartan actually sat down and talked with us after GGU's 3rd win last week and told us why losing a starter didn't keep them from winning.
Whenever you lose a player, you don't want to let it get you down like, oh, he left for a better team. But instead, we just like focused. We're like, okay, we're going to pick up Daydream, and he's a great Thresh player. We all like stayed motivated, and then we just like kept winning. And I don't know, we believe Daydream kind of meshed better with our team.
Well, Daydream and Good Game University have meshed better than anyone could have dreamed. Their new lineup has gone 4-1 and seems to be hitting their stride at the perfect time.
And GGU has really just cleaned up their play overall. They used to make a lot of mistakes. They've been making less mistakes. The chemistry between the team seems to have been improving. Everyone seems to just be on the same page. And Daydreamin' has been great as well. 15, 16, and 40 in the 5 games. Most importantly, though, it's the 4-1 record. You never would have guessed that losing Bloodwater 2 days before the Week 8 matches and having to pick up a local player last minute would work out so well for them.
But it has, you know, of course, now Complexity is coming off of an incredible win over Dignitas to keep their playoff hopes alive. And much of that is due to their willingness to play different champions.
And the last time Complexity played, this team, they played Kennen and Victor. That didn't work out too well for them. It was the blue upgrade Victor. They never 1v2'd against it. Probably Kennen wasn't necessarily on point, so they're still experimenting. But when we were talking with Lauda Mortis after the Dignitas game, they have planned out every last little detail of these team compositions. So that's a lot of planning to do coming into Super Week. They got to go 5-0. I got to see what they do against Good Game University.
Oh, they're off to a good start so far. Let's check out these starting lineups for these teams. On the blue side, once again, it is Complexity. Nick Wu in the top lane, Lauda Mortis in the jungle, probably in mid, Brunch Yu, the AD carry, and MAA on support.
And in the red corner, it's Good Game University with Zion Spartan in the top lane, Nintendo Dex in the jungle, Jintei in mid, Don't Mash Me on AD, and Daydreamin' on support.
So here we go, guys. We've got these teams are kind of poised to get themselves into the playoffs. Like, even Dyrus was nervous, and he's been playing competitively for like 2.5 years. Like, it's building on these guys.
Yeah, we've never had, in my opinion, like this much build-up for a moment, even if it's just like the playoff race, because we've been LCS this season for 2.5 months now, right? This is legitimately these guys' lives for the past bit. They've never practiced this much. They've never played this much. I don't think any of these teams have ever played at this level before, especially for teams like Complexity and GGU coming down to this. Like, I think it matters a lot more for these guys than it does for the top teams, because these guys are the ones that are going to be automatically dropped into the LCS Summer Promotion Tournament if they don't make it. And even if they finish, you know, 6th place, they're still going to have to win a best of 3 against either Dignitas or TSM, whoever gets 3rd place. So, like, these guys want a high seed, and they don't want to have their jobs on the line because they like what they do. You know, they don't want to get knocked out of the LCS, and there's so much on the line for this.
There is, and I want to kind of touch back on the point you talked about. You know, these teams have never practiced so much before. They've never had to work so hard before and do all this. And you're looking at teams like Complexity and GGU where, I mean, the matchups we just saw today so far, right? The underdog teams have looked really, really good. You never would have thought at the beginning of the season is like, yeah, dude, Complexity is going to beat Dignitas, and like, they're just showing up really, really well now, and it's impressive to see how much they've improved as teams.
The quality of games has definitely improved throughout the LCS season, and we did see it coming. Like, even at the start of the year, teams like Marn or Complexity were saying, well, we're not there yet, but give us a couple months playing together in a gaming house, and we'll make it. And it's showing up, because any one of these games, it's no longer like, oh yeah, this is going to be the game, and it's like, whoa, a crazy upset. It's like, still, all right, that was a cool upset that Complexity just pulled on Dignitas, but it wasn't something that was entirely unexpected.
Not at all, and of course, now we've got ourselves into the game. Complexity have dropped their 3 bans in there, Twitch, Elise, and Thresh. GGU dropping Amumu and Zed.
So the Amumu Zed ban, banning out Ludamortis' Amumu, so that, even though it's not something Ludamortis played last game, it could definitely be part of one of Complexity's larger strategies. Ludamortis is like the only Amumu player in all of the North American LCS. I don't even think, I think Balluno plays him a little bit over in the European LCS as well, but nothing crazy.
Ludamortis actually did play Amumu in the win against GGU back at MLG. So like the only time I remember him actually playing Amumu was actually in a win over Gigam University, so it might just be nightmares in the back of their minds. But Complexity anyway, they have first picked and stolen away Caitlyn, MashMe's most popular AD carry.
I actually heard, I think it was someone from GGU or Complexity say, so predictable, right as they locked in Caitlyn in that situation. So this could be an edge for one of them. I know that Don't Mash Me has played a ton of Caitlyn. It's been his like #1 AD carry, and Twitch is his #2. So because Complexity banned one away and they had first pick, they're going for Don't Mash Me. That's their strat in this game, it seems like.
Oh, we'll see what else he's got in that pool. Of course, we talked about Skara being kind of locked out. We'll see if that ends up happening here. Nintendude once again on the Nasus, and they've got the Twisted Fate picked up for Jinte.
And this could be really interesting because Complexity just played a game against Twisted Fate and Nasus, right? Like, why doesn't Complexity just do the strategy they did against Dignitas? Why don't they play Jason Gragas again and just kind of go with it? Because I feel like they would think that Dignitas is a better team than GGU, at least in the standings. And so far, the picks are similar. So I don't really know what Complexity is going to go with here, what strategy they've cooked up, because I'm not sure who said this so predictable, but someone is going according to plan right now.
Someone's plan certainly being inactive. You've got 8 seconds left until Complexity picks their next 2 champions. They've got a lot to look at, and you mentioned it, it's kind of looking like it.
Well, this is the strategy they wanted to do against Dignitas. When he talked to Ludamortis, he was like, well, when we ran the Gragas strat, we wanted it to be with Kha'Zix because Gragas will isolate people for Kha'Zix to go and execute. And it's looking like they're going for it, unless there's something else and Ludamortis was just pulling our leg. But this is looking promising.
I don't know, man. That means Scumbag probably though would have played a champion twice now in the LCS, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Every streak has to die. Complexity's losing streak, their streak of weeks in 8th place, it's got to end some point. Maybe it'll be by probably playing 2 champions in a row.
Man, just trend breakers all day in the LCS. Though MashMe is still clicked the Heimerdinger. That trend has not disappeared. He clicks them every single time. GGU with 18 seconds to go are looking for their next 2 pickups here, which is going to be, what, top AD and support.
Yeah, so Zion Spartan might pick Jace here, just because he's had some really good Jace games and Jinte's been playing good on TF. That would give him a large poke presence, and also the Nintendude X coming back as well. But that is completely unexpected. What are they doing? What are they doing?
Urgot. They've gone for Urgot. So there you go. We haven't seen him, I think, since week 1 and the LCS qualifiers. We got Urgot back.
All right, this is actually kind of awesome. I don't know why Urgot disappeared, actually, because every Urgot game, he seemed to be winning. He was just bullying the lane. You do, like, full bruiser comps, and you just dive into people. GGU doesn't really have a full bruiser comp because Twisted Fate can be pretty squishy. That coL actually might be a support. coL, I'm not entirely sure. It could go top lane because I don't see them moving around Twisted Fate in too many different places. So GGU being a little confusing and mysterious right now. We're not really sure what Complexity is going to have to pick up to go against them.
It'll be interesting. Certainly the ambiguity will help them out a little bit. Gragas and Sona are being looked at right now by Complexity. Probably, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart, Probably. Pick a different champion. I don't care if it's Gangplank, but if it's Gragas, I mean, I understand you want to win, but they're looking at Sona and Gragas right now.
It would make total sense if they go for this, because this is the strategy that they've essentially been practicing all week, because they practiced this to prepare for Dignitas, and they actually didn't even get the sweet spot strat they wanted, and they get it this time. So they don't get like the Gragas denial aspect of it that they got when they banned out Skara and then picked Gragas, but they still get the team comp that they've practiced ever so much. And I want to see what GGU does with this, because Daydreamin played support LeBlanc last week. They could really go with anything, and there it is, a Riven.
Riven top lane, so it's support coL Nasus jungle.
So Zion Spartan will be on Riven, I believe. They're doing a lot of swapping around. unless they're just completely crazy on us, it would be the support kill, as you say. So we know what the complexity strat is, right?
Yeah,
It's the isolate with Gragas. Well, obviously the Jarvan Sonic get everyone low. They didn't have Misfortune this time, which is what was kind of key to their last strategy, but that's because they first picked Kate away from Don't Mash Me, so it's not quite perfect. And then you look at GGU, and this is about Zion Spartan trying to beat on Nick Wu. He wants to be able to beat him in that lane, to shut down the Kha'Zix isolations and panic kills later in the game. Jintae's played a lot of Twisted Fate, and most importantly, the most interesting thing in this game is that Urgot kill bottom lane.
Yeah.
Can they beat out Caitlyn and Sona? Because that is a super high poke lane, and you don't get that much sustain from kayle.
It's going to be an interesting matchup overall, guys. We've got the lineups. You've seen them locked in, and this is a battle really for playoff positioning. GGU are in probably the best possible place to sit there in 5th, 6th. They've still got 5th right now, as long as they hold their record out. If they go, like, I think 4-1, they're guaranteed a playoff spot, so this could be one of those wins they're looking at here. Complexity, they're really trying for that 5-0 streak, and with Martin losing a game, they're that little bit closer to taking Martin's spot and getting their way into 6th. And that's going to be their attempt here. Both these teams really want to win this game.
We did talk before the week that Complexity, they got the hardest road of all. They need a lot of help. The help is starting to come, right? The first defeat was what they needed. They needed Martin to lose. They need Martin to lose again. They need Vulcan to lose. They need GGU to lose. They need to win all their games. We could be seeing the start of something great here if they can come out on top of GGU, but at the same time, GGU is riding a ridiculous hot streak. They are 4-1 in their last 5, and you know, here we go.
Here we do go, guys. We got the teams up on your screen. Complexity in blue. I think they're wearing that color almost the entire week at this point. Certainly 2 in a row for them. GGU up in the red trunks. And Twisted Fate, thankfully, Jintae is matching the team color, so I appreciate the dedication there by him. GGU moving their way down. They're just taking separate routes kind of across the map.
And this is the same opener that Complexity did in their first game against Dignitas. They don't have the Jace Gate to like beat them to the spot in this case, but they're still going to go for it. This is honestly the strategy they practiced, and they're doing it again. They're just like, yeah, this is what we want to do. And actually, GGU is kind of mimicking what Dignitas did in the earlier game and invading the red as well. So I don't know who's going to be getting the most vision control out of this one.
So I feel like this is Complexity completely mind gaming, because they're like, Ladamorta said, like, hey, we don't want to, well, we have something planned, but we're not going to say what it is, because GGU's in the other room watching us play. And by the way, you just saw our level 1, but we're going to do the same thing, and you're not going to expect that we're going to do the same thing twice in a row.
Yeah, and then they pick generally the same team comp as well. They're just like, yeah, we're going to do the Gragas thing again with the teleport. It'll be great.
But that's the funny thing, right? He actually said what the comp was, and then you just kind of saw the picks go in, and we're like, I know what they're doing right now. And you would have expected GGU had the same idea. So the early wards have gone down. Both Wraith brushes have been warded quite a bit. Complexity have just kind of gone back to their normal spots. Riven top lane for GGU. We'll see where they send everyone else.
And there's a lot of red elixirs in this game, by the way. 7 across both of the teams. I just love the fact that we interviewed Ladamortis, and he pretty much just told us everything they're going to do in this game. It's like, yeah, MIA loves to start red elixir. I can't talk him out of it. He's just going to do it. He's doing it on Sona. I don't think any support in the LCS who's playing, like any Sona support in the LCS has started red elixir. But MIA and Brunchu are going to be trying to get some kills early. They're opting into a 2v1 in this situation. This is actually like the brute force 2v1 from both of them, because normally the 2 people go where the double golems are. This time, both of the 2-man lanes are going where the double golems aren't. So they're both kind of intentionally going against the grain.
Exactly, and Complexity have actually sent Nick Wu to fight Jintae, where probably with that teleport Gragas is just going to be kind of left alone. 5 potions, a ward on Red Elixir, still actually walking to the lane, doesn't have any experience yet.
Yeah, that's a little curious. I think they're worried about some jungle. They're actually making sure Ladamortis gets like an extended pull. I wonder if Prawley's going to leech experience from this red buff just to get a bit of a lead in the lane, and that's actually what happened over there. So Prawley knows he would get denied in that bottom lane, so they're giving him experience in the jungle.
And they're just like waiting the first minion waves out, and Dude is at the blue buff for himself, and you can see probably on your screen just sharing is caring. I mean, Ladamortis said hi to everyone last game. Now he's sharing with his teammates. I mean, nice guy Ladamortis today, really.
He really likes being around people. I think it shows. And one interesting thing about that is the experience share bonus you get from the lane doesn't exist in the jungle. And they are sharing so much right now. They just want to stay together.
And Zion Spartan, though, dropped down to half health, actually has run out of potions already. Just the Red Elixir and a ward left, so this might not be the best place for him to be in. Brunchu, MIA have not used the Red Elixirs yet, but they are pushing onto this turret now as Nintendo shows up to try to stop them.
Yeah, the faster GGU can get out of this situation, the better it is for them. Riven is not a good 1v2, and Riven really has to get a lead to take advantage of the mid and early game. I almost think GGU might want to give up this turret a little earlier and just try to push the turret themselves if they want to make something happen, but I really don't know how they're going to handle this one early.
Well, Lattimortis right now looks to be getting a handle on this bottom lane. Mashme and Daydreamin are pushed up to the turret. Probably going to wave clear a little bit there and get help from a friend, and they will once again share some experience. Probably taking some poke from Mashme. Those could hurt quite a bit. You're seeing their health bars get dropped a fair bit. Actually, probably getting rather hurt on this one as they clear the wave out. The turret stays alive.
That's the really good poke coming through from Daydreamin and Don't Mash Me. They didn't take any turret harassment either, so even though Lattimortis has been standing a whole bunch of time bottom lane, it's actually kind of just like a 2-1-2 strategy because they're sharing everything. They're still getting poked hard at the turret.
They are absolutely, and Zion Spartan intend to go in on a Brunch U. The knockup is there. They're going to keep moving down. Cleanse comes out from Brunch. He flashes away as well. They're going to turn right back onto Zion, but no summoners were burned by GGU in that, so advantage going to GGU.
And Complexity can't let that happen again as Complexity goes in bottom.
They find Daydream a bunch of pain right there. The flash has been burned, and they actually give up on that chase, so he's just going to sit there and regenerate back up.
So both of these 2v1 lanes are actually in very dangerous situations where if they get engaged on again, they are probably going to die. So if there's a Wither that lands top lane, or if there's a Prawley or knockup that lands in the bottom lane, something bad's going to happen as Don't Mash Me's going for a lot of Mortis.
Takes a bunch of pain right there, but he goes back into this. Nick Wu actually getting hit by Jinte. They've traded Ignites as well. There's just punishment everywhere in this map right now. Nick Wu does have Flash, and he takes a card to the back of the head. He's actually got a recall from this one.
Calm down, guys. There's too much happening, and we actually can't follow it right now. So just everyone, if you could just do things one at a time, we'd be able to agree with it. But if there's another Wither on Brunch U, I expect Zion Spartan to go in for a kill with potentially a flash. And in the bottom lane, Prawley's actually managed to heal up, but the red elixirs have all been spent all across the board. So there's actually 7 red elixirs currently sitting on people, 4 for Complexity and 3 for GGU.
Well, and you can see, of course, Complexity are shoving out this top lane as GGU's bottom lane recalls back. So I believe Complexity has the map control to take the first turret of the game as a minion wave pushes in. Zion Spartan is a lone 1v2. Brunchy's going to find this.
And this isn't all bad for GGU. This generally means Zion Spartan will be able to farm up a little bit. As long as they can sit with the global gold advantage that was just given and not fall too far behind, they're going to be okay with it. Zion Spartan wasn't getting anything done sitting at that turret, and he's going to use this opportunity to farm.
We'll see how much farm he can, of course, get off of this one. He's going to like to get himself into decent shape right here. Pushes in on the minion wave, shoving that one out. Probably still caught in this 1 versus 2. No help there. Has to actually run back from the slow coming out from Daydreamin'. And you're just watching GGU make that same push we were seeing Complexity try at the top side of the map.
And Don't Mash Me actually has a bit of a power-up on Urgot. Like, back in Season 2 when Urgot was crazy, we didn't really have the new Tear of the Goddess or the Muramana, and we didn't have the Black Cleaver. But when Urgot actually gets to a Black Cleaver and a Muramana, he goes absolutely crazy. He gets a full shred from the Black Cleaver with 1 E landing on a target because it's physical damage that ticks every, like, quarter or half second. And then the Muramana also applies on his heat-seeking Qs. So it's actually, Don't Mash Me is happy farming off early, and it doesn't matter that he doesn't have kills on Urgot.
And this could be pretty scary, though. You're watching GGU have to react now to a mid lane push by Complexity. They sent Nick Wu to the top lane to catch up the farm. Prawley's there as well. But Brunch U and Lattimortis and co have actually pulled GGU's old bottom lane over to defend this. Probably getting some free farm.
And there's actually really high-level junglers in this game because both of them have sat in lanes so long, sharing experience as they try to push turrets, which I think gives the advantage to Complexity because they're the ones that are running with just the 1 tank all the time. GGU is somewhat running with the same strategy since Riven is kind of a bit of a just assassin-y AD. I don't even know what you call her.
More fighter than
She's
tank.
a fighter. She's a fighter, not a tank. And I do like that both of the junglers are getting a lot of experience because I do think it benefits both teams.
Well, there you can see Jinte is actually going to keep the side lane push from going anywhere. We'll see how these tanks scale up throughout the game as well. Nick Wu is now heads up. So for once, we've got almost normal lane matchups. We've got 2 top laners in the top lane. And Nick Wu is shoving.
Nick Wu's just trying to farm out. And so far, Complexity's gold lead is pretty much just the 750 gold they got from the turret. Lattimortis will be passing this blue buff off on a Prawley, and Jinte's TF ultimate has not been a factor. He's farmed quite well on it as well, but all the lanes are somewhat even. I'd say GGU has the slight edge in farm, but we really haven't seen this game begin yet.
Yeah, as far as heads-up comparisons go, the 2 1v2ers, slight lead for Gragas overall. We'll see where this ends up mashing out to. Prawley is chilling up in this mid lane. Zion Spartan once again farming up in the top.
And this is where Complexity is going to try to make a bit of a move because they're trying to get more turrets pushed down while preserving all of their own. And that is really the advantage of Caitlyn over Urgot. Caitlyn shoves way faster than Urgot, and the overall map pressure actually from everyone on Complexity is really high. Gragas clears lanes great, Nick Wu clears lanes great, and Caitlyn just crushes through, whereas GGU can't quite keep up. They have decent wave clear, but they will be generally pushing their turrets, which allows Complexity to roam around and try to make a few more plays as we see 5 of them down towards the Dragon area, maybe trying to catch someone out.
So is this going to be theirs to try to, are they going to try to control Dragon at this point, or are they still playing the push game?
I feel like they're still playing the push game because they have wards in the Dragon River, but they're mainly pushed up into GGU's jungle because they're trying to track their rotations. So they're really just trying to get free damage on turrets and catch them in between farming windows so they can get more gold generated. Like Prawley getting that free farm despite being in a 2v1 the whole time. He's now at 63 minion kills. So it's like he was farming fine the whole time. It's because Complexity's trying to outpressure and rotate more so than I think taking the Dragon straight off the bat.
Oh, Nintendo just stole away the blue buff. The wildcards came out from Jinte, but it actually went to Nintendo the last second. Jinte hit that a little bit too early, and I think the Lizard buff or something managed to steal that one away, so not quite what they wanted.
It's weird because his smite's actually on cooldown. I wonder if Nintendo Dex actually used that intentionally. He smote early to try to get it down, and then they just didn't quite steal that away. So, you know, a little bit unfortunate. That actually hurts them a bit more because Jinte needs to be able to shove out by just spamming wildcards, and if that's now mana-gated, it's going to be much more difficult for him to do.
Meanwhile, of course, you're seeing Prawley with that shiny blue buff. So pretty with that. Nice colors right there, just kind of shoving the minion waves out. And Mashme is forced just to defend his own turret and spend a lot of time defending right there. Jinte is wave clearing, but he's down to a half mana bar right now.
And I think Complexity is fine keeping this status quo going. With the teamfight strategy that they want to pull off, they're going to wait until they power up so they can actually get everyone low and then have Nick Wu combo them down. As we see the Jinte ultimate, not sure where he's gone planned with that.
He was looking for an attempt somewhere, and then just Nick Wu just kind of ran away from Zion Spartan. Looks like no kills were available on that one. Frenchu re-shoving up in this mid lane. Nintendo just sitting there trying to wave clear to keep that from going, and you're just seeing this feels like Complexity. I've seen this so many times. They're like pushing turrets and they don't quite have anything happen, but they keep pushing anyway.
And they don't have a huge early game advantage. Like, they've actually jumped out to a lot of them this time. The red elixirs have all calmed down. No one's like, I don't think anyone's re-red elixired yet this game. I'm looking across everyone on Complexity. None of them have it. No one on GGU has it either. So we've almost reached a bit of a lull. There was the one turret traded, and GGU wasn't able to get back at them. So Complexity is winning this map pressure ever so slightly. And I don't know if GGU's got something combated.
Well, right now the bottom lane is getting combated pretty hard there. Complexity doing a bunch of damage, that down to 1/3 health of that turret. It's looking pretty good. However, Nintendo is waiting around in the wings to support Don't Mash Me. Will they go in for much? Just the Spirit Fire. Nick Wu, though, and Zion Spartan in a duel at the top lane. They're going all into this one. The Otis pops. Zion Spartan taking so much damage. The flash comes out. Nick Wu picks up first blood.
And there it is for Complexity. Wow, just with 2 longswords, he just out-brawls Zion Spartan. He got the isolations and then just used his ult to just move around Zion Spartan in the right way. That's big for their overall pressure. Jinte didn't have a Twisted Fate ultimate, so he was able to push with impunity. And now it's just a matter of Complexity continuing the farm game.
And, well, it's probably pushing down this bottom lane. We've seen him do this so much before. Double Doran's ring, 90 minions, and going for that pressure. Mash Me trying to shield up some of that damage, but still getting pressured.
And look now, Lauda Mortis down, pops the flag for the increased attack speed, and even though they're taking harass, this might be turret 2.
It's going to be close. Actually, wow, in the mid lane, Jinte explodes as Nick Wu shows up. The crescendo from MIA and the ult from Frenchu both used as well to combo that down. That bottom turret did fall. 2 kills to nothing. Complexity certainly in control.
It looks like GGU may be as distracted as we are with that one because I was paying attention to the bottom lane push, and it looks like Flash Ultimate just surprised GGU there. Now with Jinte down, despite them not having Pink War control, they're going straight up for this dragon.
They're completely in vision of GGU, but they're actually afraid of this one. They're actually backing out, probably not going to look for the pressure right here. So 5v3, and they run from Good Game University.
And I actually wonder if GGU is going to try to 3-man this dragon. We could see a huge point of contention here. Looks like they're both just going to back up. I want to point out Daydream actually maxed Q on support coL, so that one Q he threw on just trucked at the start of that fight, and was one of the big reasons they pushed Complexity off the dragon.
Well, apparently a very good skilling choice there by Daydream, and of course this was the guy who played support LeBlanc just a week ago.
Yeah.
And it worked for him, so certainly the guy knows what's going on to a certain extent. And there is GGU making a counter push in this mid lane, that mid turret down to half health, and they are not slowing Shines. They're showing, oh my gosh, the damage. Zion Spartan forced to flash, gets the coL as well, but there comes the dunk from Lauda Mortis. He's not quite in turret range though. He's going to make his way out of this one. No more damage will go into Zion Spartan.
And we just saw one of the interactions we're going to be seeing a lot of this game where they isolate the one target and then they try to have Kha'Zix go in and get him. But what GGU had is they had the intervention. So we're actually going to see them isolating a target, and then it's going to be kind of a battle of, are they going to dump the damage on a coL ult target, or is their composition actually going to work? Because that is a nice interaction for GGU if they play it right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the coL ult was changed in the 3.5 balance patch to have shorter range.
You are correct in that, sir. It's no longer like off-screen large, but it's still, I believe, 900 range. So he has to position himself a little bit better. He has to put himself in a little bit more harm's way. And if he gets knocked in the wrong way, he won't be able to pull that off. But he was close enough in that situation to make it happen.
Okay, so we'll see how that ends up panning out in these fights. Probably, shockingly enough, is split pushing. Well, I mean, I say split pushing. He's like in the mid lane in the middle of the map, but he is by himself farming up with barrels. 109 minions on him. Nick Wu, an incredibly impressive score as well of 118. So all of the major threats for Complexity have broken 100 minions so far.
And it's the lane shoving that Complexity has been doing. All these lanes are consistently at the turrets of GGU, and that means GGU is losing some to the turret. They're not able to get everything since they're pushed up so much. Complexity is free to kind of take the jungle that they want, right? And they've killed the extra turrets. They're all just kind of free farming. There's nothing stopping Brunchu from getting absolutely every single one, and they're just making sure that they outshove GGU so that Jinte doesn't go and make plays happen with TF.
We'll see if he ends up making those plays, though. Of course, the Dragon is gone. No, sorry, the Dragon is not gone. No one actually went for it right now. Is Complexity just going to keep literally shoving the entire game, or will they look for Dragons with this gold advantage they have?
It would make sense if they go for Dragon pretty soon, but they got to make sure that they don't like tunnel vision on it too hard. The Nasus will be very powerful in the Dragon fight if Zion Spartan gets going. Like, this is the mid-game spike that Zion Spartan needs to take advantage of. Does look like Complexity is going to be going for it big, but they have to be very careful because it would be a 4-on-4 if they go for it, and they don't have the Nick Wu bouncy bounce yet because he's not, well, he is level 11, but he's not there.
Well, let's see. A lot of one is actually escaping away from the Dragon Pit right now, and probably aggro's Dragon, so don't match me, forced to run away. But then he puts a ward down, and Dragon turns around. Got a little bit more damage there. Let's see where they end up going. Certainly some wards in a lot of different locations. Complexity goes back for this mid lane right here. Laudamortis zoning out with just a flag toss, and they're doing a lot of damage. His turret down below half health. Brunchu is still putting out some pain, and they will now back off, but that turret is dangerously low.
But look at the top lane, because Nick Wu was able to shove that out while Complexity was kind of daring around Baron. It's just pushing freely, and GGU doesn't want to send someone up there because they know that now Complexity has enough people down that they could 5v4 Dragon. So this is just tactical shoving by Complexity, working out for them quite well.
Laudamortis with an Oracle has just swept out the wards from Dragon. So this is now under Complexity's control. This map is kind of theirs to own in this bottom half. As they shove out the mid lane, they go into the darkness. Will GG look to stop anything here? They ping. They're actually waiting in a brush right here. MA puts a ward down, probably once again tries to shove out this mid lane, and Nick Wu, Laudamortis are dueling Dragon right here.
And it's that early Oracles investment for Laudamortis that might pay off. You spend 400 for the Oracles, you get 975 for the Dragon. They knew that they were stronger, and they knew that GGU didn't want to face check into a potential Sona and Gragas ult and just combo everyone dead. Plus, there was the wave pushing in the top lane that Zion Spartan had to go clean out. That was great play by Complexity, and they're going in now, maybe for turret number 3.
We get the knockup on a Daydream and didn't even pull aggro because the knockup itself doesn't even deal damage. The turret goes down 2-0 in kills, 3-0 in turrets, and Complexity have built a 4,000 gold lead in game number 3 of Super Week.
And it's mostly in objectives, right? Because it's 3 turrets, which is 2250 gold, and the Dragon, which is 975. So I think the math almost checks out. I think there's about 800 minion kills worth of gold left in there, but it is just a matter of map pressure and barely the team fights because there's only been the 2 kills in 17 minutes, Freak.
They've certainly been playing the map objective game, and kind of like the TSM match against Marn, people look for turret kills a whole heck of a lot. They had a couple more champion kills, to be fair, but certainly these guys are playing the map more than anything else. Brunchu trying to get himself through the game. Zion Spartan trying to farm up as well. Chat, we're now 18 minutes in, and Complexity just seems to be making all the moves still.
They really are, and I think the GGU might be waiting on a few items, right? Like, Don't Match Me's got 500 of the 750 mana required for the Mirror mana on Urgot. We talked a little bit earlier about them wanting to get that Black Cleaver Mirror mana combo so we can really start doing damage. Jinte's been kind of contained the whole game. Zion Spartan hasn't been able to get going, and both of them are kind of waiting on the big items, right? Brunchu looks like he's going for the Infinity Edge. They probably don't want to have a big fight before that happens. There was just the Death Cap completion on a Prawley because he finished that one off. I mean, Prawley's 1,000 gold up on Jinte, as we just saw in that last 5,400 to 4,400. So, like, this is an accumulating lead that Complexity is happy building.
And they are certainly building it up, of course. The brick by brick and gold piece by gold piece, they are going up in this game right here. We've got a while to the next dragon, though, and the only turrets available are now one more wave in. Nick Wu, though, is up in Zion Spartan's territory here. Recalling in the brush, but he might just jump in on something. He's still spotting that one out, lurking in the shadows. Zion goes back to the right, and he's recalling Nick Wu. He sees him, doesn't want to go for it, though.
The patience of Nick Wu kicking in. I mean, if he would have went for it, I believe Jinte could have ulted him and probably ended up getting a kill. So he was really just waiting until he went back so he could free farm the wave and then shove it in a bit more and just kind of keep the pressure up. Prawley's farming the bottom lane, Nick Wu's farming the top lane, and then the middle lane just seems to be Brunch U spamming Piltover Peacemakers. He's gotten his Infinity Edge at this point, so Complexity does seem a little comfortable in this situation, and they might be a little bit more relaxed after finally closing that win against Dignitas. They're probably confident that they can do it again against GGU.
See, that ends up being the case, of course. They're certainly doing a much better job than they were a week ago in closing late-game battles out, as they actually have done so far today. The Zion Spartan is just trying to play the farm game and catch up with his opponents. He's not having... Ooh, Nick Wu stole that one.
69 gold for that one. The big double golem gives a lot of money near the end of the... like, near even 20 minutes of the game here. He's going to be going for that Merman as well. He's still sitting on a bunch of items on Kazakhs, but they have a lot of advantages here.
They do. They've got the entire map controlled. I mean, what's the next advantage they look for here, though?
It may just be another pick kill or just avoiding the Twisted Fate ultimates as MIA has to flash away.
Beautiful crescendo. Oh my gosh, MIA just lands that one. They trade ult for ult, but now Latimortis might be looking for something. And the Wither comes off from Nintendo. They might be going back in. Latimortis down to half. There's the explosive cast. They've isolated quite a few. Who's going to go take the damage right here? Nintendo down dangerously low. They're not committing too hard. There comes a lot of pain in. The flash out. There's the swap in as well. Who's going to take the damage? Everyone's getting traded out. Daydream will fall. 1 for 0 so far. Nashby kind of alone. Takes a slow. Takes another slow. 2 kills for nothing. Probably making that one happen. 4-0 for Complexity.
It all started with that awesome crescendo by MIA, completely shutting down the Twisted Fate threat, and then Prawley landed an amazing explosive cast on pretty much everyone, got them low. Nick Wu chased well and patiently, and there was a lot of ways the Complexity could have overcommitted there, but they didn't, and they picked up 2 kills because of it.
And a turret as well, so 4-0 in kills, 4-0 in turrets. I wish it were a 4,000 gold lead, but no, it's 6,000 instead, making those numbers not line up anymore, but Complexity looking very good.
And it is just the team comp coming together. You can tell it's practice. They have an aura item as well on Latimortis. Nintendo Dex is far, well, not that far away from Locket of the Ion Solari, but again, it's going to be that, is the Aegis better or is the Locket of the Ion Solari better? The general consensus of the pros is it's the Locket, but Latimortis thinks otherwise.
He does so far, and we'll see that Nintendo, though, has led his team to their first turret kill of the game, so they are on that upper scoreboard now. Great counter push picked up by them. Brunchy with the Infinity Edge just pushing that lane back.
He's going to have a lot of gold, actually, right now. He's sitting at 1,100. Prawley's sitting at 1,700 as well. Nick Wu's sitting at 1,700. There's a lot of shopping that Complexity is going to be able to do pretty shortly and then kind of go for the next big play. At this point, since they're like 5,000 or 6,000 gold ahead, this is where they were in the Dignitas game, actually, and this is where they got a free dragon and then overcommitted and lost a fight at Blue Buff. I don't think that's going to happen again. They're probably just going to go take the free dragon and then make sure they don't overcommit because Complexity is playing really well in this game.
They really are. They haven't even warded Blue Buff this time, so it seems they have learned that lesson. They're like, you know what, Blue Buff, not our favorite place to fight a battle. We'll back off on this one for now. Mashmi is still in his bottom lane. That Manamune, right, it's getting closer. It's at 700 of 750, so you mentioned that being a key break point. He's getting close to that one here. The dragon, like you said, coming up very, very soon.
And it's really going to be tricky for Don't Match Me in these fights because the older was able to go like really tanky, and the Merman and Black Cleaver is actually kind of a damager god, so he can't do the all-out, like, I'm going to swap into the team and just tank you as I assassinate your AD carry, right? Because the old Urgot was an AD carry assassin first and foremost. At this point, he's just trying to do a bunch of DPS as well as killing the AD carry, so I don't know if he's going to be able to get involved because of the amount of damage that Complexity throws out and the fact that they just want to kill one and then kill the next and the next and the next. So teamfights are a very tricky situation for GGU. They do have some of the items they want, but I don't think they have the overall strength.
Well, Dragon is up. GGU has a ward on it. They are nearby, so right now it seems like they might just want to contest this. Complexity have started, though, on the Dragon. Latimortis taking it up. The team is there, probably shoving the mid lane. They've got a momentary 5v4. Nintendo goes in, lands a Spirit Fire. Blue team has picked up Dragon. Will Complexity get away cleanly? Yes, they will.
So Nintendo Dex, I thought he was going in for blood right there, and he's like, nah, I didn't get the smite still. I'm going to see you guys later. I don't want to fight you. And I think that was the smart choice for GGU. I think if they would have fought, Complexity probably would have cleaned house on them there. And now it's just a matter of that's yet another global advantage for them. Twisted Fate ult actually goes off because they were worried that Complexity went straight for Baron. Now that pressure is gone as well, so Complexity should have free reign with that Oracles on MIA.
He doesn't actually sweep that last bit of the ward. They're actually afraid of checking in the brush again. Going to back out and let GGU have vision. They do spot the Wraiths being taken here by Jinte. French Yu being prioritized, or he's been prioritized for farm up in the top lane. 183 on him, still skilling throughout the game.
It's a matter now of where is the game going to come from GGU, because they pretty much have to wait for Complexity to overcommit. It's almost like they have to hope that Complexity fails their assassination combo into like a beautiful day-driven intervention while Nintendo Dex is in like a perfect position, because they don't have the same tools that Complexity has for starting team fights, right? They just have the Urgot ult. They just have maybe a Twisted Fate stun card. It's not like that game we just saw between TSM and Marn where everyone had like crazy initiation tools. It's like Complexity has the initiation tools, and GGU just kind of has to hope for the right situation.
I mean, where would that even come from? Do they bait a Baron or a Dragon or something?
At this point, I think GGU has to hope that Complexity tries a bad Baron or a bad turret dive, and something could happen here, right? Like if Don't Match Me were to ult a priority target into the turret while Prawley was in this lane, even though Prawley has teleport, the fight may be over by the time it actually matters. But for now, GGU's in a bad situation because Jinte's got to go all the way over here to shut down Prawley, even though he doesn't have his Destiny out.
And you can see just Prawley just going over and over and over again, hitting that turret down. Actually, might just want to stay for that one. He actually backs off. He's afraid of getting jumped on, so lets the minions do most of the talking for him. Stays around, but he's not looking for the turret himself.
He's got the presence here, though, so I think he'll get it eventually. He knows Jinte wants to cheat back pretty quickly, and he's probably waiting for a moment to, like, just try to burst him down. You look at Prawley's items, and he can destroy Jinte right now. Jinte has no health. He's got an armor item in the Seeker's Arm Guard, and he's actually going back towards the team. So now Prawley knew that by hiding for a while, Jinte was probably going to give up that turret because he wants to be with his team, and he's going to get that free turret.
Looks like that turret is going to be his. Probably, yep, there's the barrel, 85 gold for him. That turret's going to go down. Complexity will find their 5th turret, and now they're disengaging. That slow coming out from Nick Wu stopped Zion Spartan in his tracks. 4-0, 5-1 in turrets, and Prawley is right back here on that right-hand side lane. This is Complexity to a T.
25 minutes, 46 seconds. Have they finally learned how to finish games? Because this has been a flawless performance for them so far. 26 minutes without a death. They've only lost 1 turret. They haven't given up any dragons. I don't think they lost a jungle camp to the enemy team. Probably stealing the blue buff at this point. They are really on point right now, and GGU has to come up with something miraculous.
We'll see if that miracle can come in. Maybe some divine intervention. Nick Wu is going to be stealing away the red buff. So yes, the jungle is theirs to control. GGU University just trying to control their own turret right here, but they're losing grip on it right now. They eat up a Caitlyn trap. GGU still waiting for that bad engage.
And it's not coming. I mean, Prawley is showing a lot of patience. Complexity is showing a lot of patience. They showed a lot of patience against Dignitas in their first game as well. Like, this is a practice strat they're coming in with this weekend. Prawley's spent the whole week playing Gragas, and he's just split pushing to his heart's content. He's got 252 minion kills on Gragas in 26 minutes. Like, that is an absurd number. He's 3,000 gold ahead of his lane mate in Jinte. Like, this is great for Complexity.
Absolutely is great for them. You're seeing Prawley. I mean, I feel like this is his home territory. He's been on that side of the map so much in our games overall. I see him in that stretch of land like 90% of the games. He's there killing things with barrels or howling gales or whatnot and just farming. No one quite stopping him. Lattimortis had to run away from that one, though, getting a little bit caught out. Jinte once again locking that gold card, but he's down to half mana. Those golem steals are actually affecting GGU a little bit.
And I think that would have been GGU's opportunity to maybe try something. They didn't want to because Zion Spartan had went bottom and it was a potential 4v5 because Prawley could have teleported in. But getting a pick in that situation would have been good. And again, Jinte had to burn his Destiny because when Complexity fell back, GGU didn't have vision of the Baron area and was worried that they were going to do that again. So this is just a lot of pressure on GGU just overall, and they're not responding to it that well.
They seem to not be right now. I'm actually thinking back to, I want to say it was actually GGU Complexity back early on, and they had Mash Me on Ezreal who just sat there fighting Nick Wu in the bottom lane for like 20 minutes, just farming back and forth. And they stopped the Nick Wu split push for like ever. Actually, that might have been Psycho Sid in retrospect.
That was definitely a Vulcan game, but I've seen GGU stall up before and get their 80 carry really farmed. This time it's an Urgot, so we haven't seen enough Urgot to really know his like crazy late game scaling. He does a lot of individual damage, but I don't think he scales like a 6-item Ezreal would. So it is a matter of GGU holding on, and it's not even like they're split pushing with Don't Match Me. They're split pushing with Riven and Jinte, and even though Riven scales okay, it's a mid-game scale. And Twisted Fate is so far behind that even if he's trading farm, it's not going to let him catch up. So GGU doesn't have the same circumstances that allowed them that comeback way back in week 2.
Well, it's 8,000 gold down. They found MIA. Finally, they're looking for the pressure here. The crescendo comes across. He's forced to flash as well. A lot of cooldowns are gone, and here comes the teleport in from Gragas. He is going to show up there. So looks like probably White want to start a battle here. They've got GGU pushing down the mid lane. Lattimore wants to start a fight. They're going to go in quite possibly. The Q comes out. Nintendo down to half health. Gets a haste in. There's Jinte off on the side as well. Zion Spartan finds a stun. They're not quite getting the battle started that they want, though. A little bit of damage on all sides. Match Me now in front. Complexity, can they start a battle? They're still looking for something. Nick Wu pops his stealth, lands a slow for his W. There's the dunk. Match Me forced to flash away. They're still getting hasted back and forth. Nick Wu's still looking for something. They're still looking at Match Me. There's a swap coming in from him, and they're going to go all the way in, but the intervention stops all the burst damage. Prawley's been caught out. He will almost go down. Trading 1-for-1 so far. The battles are still going on. Zion Spartan finds the wind slash. 2 kills for Zion Spartan. They traded 1 back. Nick Wu gets 1. He's looking for Jinte. Jinte might go down. Nick Wu finds it. Double kill. Everyone on GGU has fallen.
Triple kill for Nick Wu, but they did lose 3. There were 8 total deaths in that fight, and that was a Complexity fight without Crescendo. It was a very awkward initiation. It just kind of poked and prodded at GGU as they were moving out the lane, but Nick Wu did get a couple resets. They got enough damage out in that fight that they got the ace, and now they're able to push turrets because of where the fight happened.
And this first turret is going to go down. They've still got 8 seconds before anyone is back from GGU. This is going to be their inhibitor. MEA low on health and mana, doesn't contribute a heck of a lot. Just keeps that Q aura on, gives Nick Wu some damage. And that is the first inhibitor going down just over 30 minutes.
Gotta say, even though that was a sloppy fight for Complexity, it's just showed how far they were actually ahead. No Crescendo, probably got picked off early, and still 5 for 3 with enough time left over to finish an inhibitor. And now I feel like Nick Wu might try to drive by this dragon. It's a little risky because GGU will be able to run down, but he also kills it pretty fast. There's a TF ult that's gonna actually scare them. I wonder if he's gonna go for MIA.
You notice that MIA and Nick Wu stand on top of each other. Buddy system holding hands. Complexity, the friendly team here, trying to make sure that they cross the street safely, looking both ways. GGU, though, that's going to be their dragon actually right now. This is going to be their first really major objective of the game, aside from that 1 middle turret they got a while ago.
All right, so they finally make that good play back. Little bit of gold will help, but they haven't been able to shop and get any of that happening. MAS went back to base. His Crescendo's back up now. And if Complexity can get a refresher of what they had last time, I think they're really just waiting for GGU to kind of cross the river, and then they're going to chase them down. Or they're just going to go straight for the Baron because they know Jinte used his Twisted Fate ultimate to scout Dragon, so GGU is completely blind in this situation.
They have absolutely no vision, but the wards from Complexity are there, and they see GGU nearby. Nope, that's going to be Baron Nashor picked up, probably lands some harass, and look at Prunchy just shooting some bullets from across the wall. Does not quite last hit that ward, but not exactly important. Baron Nashor, of course, is dead, and now Complexity will wave clear top lane.
And it might be dive time pretty soon for these guys. I know that Nick Wu is sitting on 2,500 gold because I don't actually think he's been back to base since his triple kill because of all the action that's happened, but they know they have the Baron. They know that GGU's actually spread up around the map. They see Zion Spartan pushing the bottom lane. Complexity's going to roll through at least 1 turret here.
Well, Zion Spartan does have Guardian Angel, so the split push has given him at least something to farm out here. There's the 7th turret kill of the game, looking for inhibitor turret number 2. All 5 strong, all 5 with Baron buff. They've all got about 1,000 gold apiece, but they don't care so much. They want to get this structure down. Lattimore is taking damage in the front.
And Zion Spartan still hasn't made it back to base. He finally teleported back, but that's not before half the turret went down. Maybe Complexity will go back here because Zion Spartan home guarded in, but you can see GGU is potting up. They have 2 Elixirs of Fortitude ready to be consumed. They cannot lose this second inhibitor, especially against a Baron team if they want to stay in this game. It is just so hard to hold against a Baron team with the initiation potential of Complexity.
They are trying to hold on right now. Complexity milling up right here in the front. This turret Hasn't taken any damage this wave right now, but a giant minion wave has shown up in the mid lane, though. It's actually Mortis just diving right in, wanting to put some pressure down. There comes the ult from Gragas, trying to pin them down. Nintendo down to half health, only about 1100 health on him. Zion Spartan forced to run back. There's actually initiation onto Mortis. He's taking a bit of pain right here. Zion, though, down below 1,000 himself. The counterattack damage from Complexity is massively high.
There's actually 8,000 unspent gold on Complexity right now, so they're actually pretty much fighting with Baron buff as their main advantage. It doesn't matter, though, as they get the next inhibitor exposed, and they might fall back or just wait for the Baron regen to hold them and then go for more.
We saw Twisted Fate just take a shot for his support Daydream at the last second there. Daydream didn't flinch, didn't pop his ultimate. Knew TF would block that one out. And you've now seen 8 turrets go down. So a 10,000 gold lead. They'll actually spend the money this time around as Prawley steals away another blue buff. And GGU left to pick up the scraps of their base.
And here's the great thing for Complexity. They made that push with the 8,000 unspent gold, but they did it so quickly after the Baron buff that they're probably going to get 2 pushes out of this Baron. Usually teams only get 1. This push is going to be substantially more potent, and since they've already exposed 2 inhibitors, and the 3rd inhibitor turret is already below half health, Complexity might just walk in and take what's theirs.
And they might just be theirs indeed. Mortis is shoving up this mid lane. They're looking for the second Baron push that you mentioned. He's trying to make the way for his team. Blue buff being taken over by Nick Wu in the left-hand side. He's got that one cleanly. Brunchu has a fresh red buff. He's clearing out the Wraiths, as Doublelift would, and they're moving on towards this mid lane. Complexity have grouped up. Of course, there is no turret here to stop them, and they want this base.
And I don't know what GGU can do to hold off on this one. They still only have a couple items on Jinte. He still doesn't have his Zondi's Hourglass. The Frozen Heart hasn't been completed on Don't Mash Me, but he is kind of aggressively poking back. Like maybe the Guardian Angel on Zion Spartan will be enough, but this is a very large lead, especially when you factor in the stats from Baron, as they got just under a minute left on it. Complexity going to try to walk in and get this inhibitor. I don't know if GGU is going to try to hold, but if they do, they have to initiate hard.
Well, the Spirit Fire comes off. They try to slow down Complexity a little bit. They're going to move on. You can see the inhibitor right there in the middle of your screen. Mortis up in the front, pops his shield. Don't Mash Me, looking for damage on the side. Doesn't find anything just yet. Barrel comes out, will wave clear if minions do show up. Zion Spartan in the front, intended also drop down below half health. Mortis still in the front, Complexity still trying to take the base apart, and GG will not fight them for this. 2 inhibitors down, and of course they can move right on down to the rest of the map. The bottom lane inhibitor has just respawned, and Complexity are directly on top of it, all ready to kill this one off. Home Guard comes in, GG are going to look for a fight. Zion Spartan tries to go in, but they've all been slowed down. Complexity disengages beautifully. Find a little bit of damage out of Mash Me. They don't quite get the inhibitor. Will they go back? Nick Wu in the front. Pops the W. More damage coming in from Caitlyn. 1 shot to go. Finds the inhibitor. 2 down. They've got no Baron buff left, but they've got super minions flooding the base.
Complexity is just poking so well in those situations. You could tell GGU wanted to fight, and Complexity was just making it so suicidal that GGU ended up giving up 2 inhibitors. They poked back really well. The Gragas Barrows plus the Void Spikes from Nick Wu were just perfect. And this is actually a push without a Baron, so if ever there was a fight from GGU, it would be here.
It's almost got to be. They've got minions flooding in the other sides of their base, directly on top of the Nexus turrets right now. It's just getting beaten down by super minions. Good Game University, Don't Mash Me, trying to push down onto Mortis. He's regenerating, though, some of that health. The turret down below 500 is just getting hit more and more and more. Here comes Complexity moving in on the fight. The stun comes out. There's the ult from TF as well. Mortis getting chunked out. He might go down, but Crescendo comes across 3. 1 kill, 2 kills picked up. There's 2 moving around. The hops coming out from Nick Wu. He's finding kill after kill. GA pop from Zion Spartan. Mashpee finds the kill. Jinte still alive. Mashpee goes down. Zion Spartan is going to try to pick up what he can. He's going to look for Brunchu. No, quadra kill for Brunchu. He's got everybody, every name, the ace picked up. The Nexus turret's going down. Complexity 2-0 so far in the day.
Such an impressive win for them. They started off the day beating Dignitas, and this is their last game of the day. They beat GGU. 36 minutes and like total control the whole game, Freak. This Nexus is going down.
The Nexus is going to fall off. That is Complexity. Again, 2-0 on the week. They have started their Super Wednesday awesomely to move on to Thursday and Friday and look for that 5-0.
Fist bumps coming out from Prawley and Mortis. I mean, they needed the miracle coming into this week. They got 3 more games left if they want a 5-0, and maybe they'll just get the help they need if some other teams cooperate and lose a few games for them. If they could come back from 2 games down in the last week and make the playoffs, it would be such a crazy story.
That would be an impressive story. And you just saw Marn lost a game, GGU lost a game at the hands of Complexity. Certainly, it's looking like their fates just might be shaping up.
It's going to be so tight to see because, you know, Complexity, when they picked up Prawley, it seemed like they immediately had more energy. But they hadn't turned it into success, right? They won a couple big games, but they were overall 2-3. They couldn't close. So far in these 2 games, Dignitas, one of the hardest teams to close against, they were able to beat them. GGU, actually a pretty hard team to close out as well because a lot of their wins have been come from behind, and they just rolled through them at the end of the game. That was great stuff by Complexity, and they should have a lot of confidence rolling into the next 2 days of Super Week.
Yeah, they have looked absolutely amazingly. Now, guys, I want to show you guys one of those replays, though, the team fight where they burned this one a little early on and still came through for the ace. Jad, if you want to take us through that fight.
This was one of the strangest fights of the game because they were chasing through for so long. You can see Nick Wu's poking him, Prawley's poking him. GGU kind of wants to counter-initiate because they know him and he doesn't have his ultimate, but it's kind of like, well, we don't really want to go all in because then Grog Assault is going to split us. GGU is super mindful of the potential isolation from the Grog Assault, and they will kill out the first target that happens. They actually isolate Don't Mash Me right here when the flash happens, and then Complexity says, hey, Don't Mash Me's still there. They all run for him. This is when the Kayle ult hits, and they actually dump a bunch of damage onto a Kayle ult to Don't Mash Me. They waste a bunch. Prawley's also out of position, so he goes down. But even with all the sloppiness from Complexity, Nick Wu comes in from the back with Kha'Zix. He's able to jump all over the place. Brunchu did a bunch of damage despite being finished off by, I believe, an Ignite at the end, and Nick Wu just finished off at the end with a triple kill. So that was like a very telling fight for who was actually ahead in that game, and Complexity had confidence after that they could win the rest of the game.
Nick Wu absolutely played amazingly in that battle, guys. That was an amazing fight by Complexity, looking to keep their playoff hopes alive here. When we come back, we're going to have Prawley and Nick Wu to talk about their unbelievable 2-0 start. Plus, Kobe will dissect some of the key plays of the day so far. Don't go anywhere. There's tons more action coming up right after this.
I see what you mean. Welcome back, everybody. I am Jat, joined by the victorious Nick Wu and Prawley, who are now 2-0 so far on Super Week. Coming into this week, you guys need a lot of help and also a really good performance. How's the first day been going for you so far?
The first day's been going fantastic, as you can see, 2-0, and one of them against Dignitas. It's been going great.
Were you expecting to be able to beat Dignitas, and was that like, we talked with Ludum Mortis a little bit about it, did that game go pretty much exactly as planned?
Yeah, I think the game went pretty well planned. We had our bans and picks out, and things kind of went accordingly. And yeah, everything just went well.
And Prawley, you played the same champion 2 games in a row, but it paid off in victory. Was that worth it?
Not really. I should have played Timo or Mordekaiser. That's whatever.
Yeah, and then you could have pulled off the Mordekaiser Kha'Zix strat, where you just kill the first one and then get the cloud.
Yeah, that's what we should have done, but whatever. I guess we won.
I guess you won. You're going to have to deal with that. Coming in, like, are you guys really trying to vie for that 6th playoff spot, or are you just kind of content with your fate of not making it? Like, what if you don't make it? What happens then?
Well, we're not planning on not making it yet. But yeah, we're trying to contend for our best possible chance. I'm pretty sure 7th place would suffice, but 6th would be the best, obviously. So we're just going to try to win all of our games and hope the other bottom 4 start losing.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking right now. It's very confident. And in that last game, I heard someone call out when the first pick Caitlyn happened. It's like, oh, so predictable. Was that you guys or was that the other team? If you didn't say it, it was definitely the other team.
I don't think we would say it's predictable that we pick our own first pick champ, because of course it's predictable. It's our pick. So that definitely wasn't us.
All right then. Well, you did deny Don't Match Me, the Caitlyn, and the Twitch coming into the game. Was that part of your strategy? And I also know you guys played like the isolation Gragas Kha'Zix comp that you had planned in the first game in the second game. Totally as planned?
Yeah. Well, with Dignitas, we had played that comp before, and we wanted that against Dignitas, but it didn't happen, so we just dealt with it. And then we got it this game, and we were like, well, we've been practicing this, and it worked versus Dig. Well, let's see how it works this time.
Awesome stuff. And I know as soon as you joined the team, Prawley, it seemed like all of Complexity just kind of had more energy. But in the previous 2 weeks, your overall record was 2-3, right? So you hadn't really transitioned it into crazy success. Now you've won the first 2 games. Is something changed now that you've been on the team for longer?
I think what's changed in general is that our practice is more, I guess I'd say, serious, more rigorous in terms of how much more we play and how much we actually try to get out of it. And I think that's what's been really helping us pull out these victories.
Have you been doing anything interesting to try to end games more? Because you guys have always been able to come out early in games, but you had trouble ending them.
Yeah, just kind of watch replays to kind of fix that. I mean, we have a lot of replays that we watch, and that's kind of the best way to figure it out. Because like in the moment, it's really hard to sit and calm your emotions and calculate how to win this. So you pretty much have to watch your replays, and that's what we did. We watched them, and when you're watching them, you're like chilled. So we're just like chilled watching replays, and we're like, why aren't we just doing this? This is a way better idea. So that's what we did today.
It's awesome stuff. So you've probably prepared strategies for then almost every single team. How have you prepared so many different strategies? Because you said you kind of have like a unique strategy in every game. You play a different champion every game except for one. How do you prepare that much for Super Week in such a short amount of time?
Well, it takes all your time. Like, you really have to put all in, and that's what we do. We wake up usually earlier, and we just get right to playing. And then as we play, we always focus on what to do to get better. We're not playing just to play. We're playing really just to look at how we play and then expand on that.
Well, thank you very much, Nick Wu and Prawley. Congratulations on your 2-0 victory today. I know you guys need a little bit of help to get into the playoffs, but you're definitely off to a great start, and I hope you can continue your success. Great champion picks by Prawley. I love the fact that Nick Wu's expanded his champion pool. But for now, we have Kobe24 on the telestrator to break down 2 plays from the first game Complexity played against Dignitas.
All right, thanks, Jat. I'd like to welcome everyone now to Hook City, the LCS edition. Your tour for this guide is going to be, or your tour guide is going to be MIA, Complexity Support here. He does a really nice thing here where he charges up his death sentence and then flashes over this minion to gain the distance to QTPie, so QTPie has no time to react. This isn't even the first blood that MIA already got by landing a death sentence onto Patoy. So let's run this in 50% speed so we can see it in action. He's going to step out of this bush slightly, so they'll have vision. And look at the animation here. It starts, and there's the flash over the minion. No time. Now let's pause it here. QTPie, equally good play. He just burned his cleanse and his flash because he saw MIA already use the death sentence to go in on him to drag MIA under the turret. Now, they're both going to be rewarded with kills. Just great play on both people's part right here. Let's finish out the clip. See everyone going down. There's the play, and MIA's got nowhere to get out, but a really good play by both of them. The second hook is going to be MIA turning Scar's gank completely around on him. Scar's coming in here, it looks like. Dignitas think they have the numbers. You can see 4 people up here. Scar's going to ult in, try and get Brunch. But MIA is going to save him with a lantern, keep his flash for later. That's going to be really important. All right, let's start out this clip. Here comes Scar. There's the lantern. Great save. Now he gets hooked in again. There's going to be another kill. Free kill right there for Complexity. We see the rest of the team turns immediately around after the ultimate from Brunchu right there. And right now, Nick Woo's coming up. All right, let's pause it here. Nick Woo, he just burned his flash. You can see that little dust right here. That means the flash for Nick Woo was used just to gain distance to get to this fight. All he does is land 1 shock blast. Not that important. Let's continue this on. He's going to really, really regret this decision because he wants his flash later. All right, now they're under the turret, and the positions have reversed. Complexity are now diving. Let's pause it right here. Kiwi Kid is going for the dash. He does not panic even though he got cataclysms. He sees that Nick is trying to finish off this turret. Nick does not get the last hit on the turret though, so he's going to take a bunch of turret hits and eventually go down because he does not have his flash. The Ignite's going to definitely pay off right here. All right, this is where Dignitas get their kill back. Continue the clip. 1, 2, 3 tower hits. Now Nick goes down. It looks like they've got a win, but look. Cutie Pie's coming in from the side here. This fight is not over yet. Patoy gets hooked in for another trade. Now it's Cutie Pie's turn. He lands the stand aside onto MIA, and they're able to answer back with yet another kill. Now just the rest of the team fight rolls out like that. It's a pretty good trade. But you can see the importance of landing these death sentence on Thresh. They're just really amazing and game-changing mechanics here from MIA. All right, let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks very much, Kobe. Now, earlier, we had asked you guys to hop on Twitter and tell us which North American LCS team has been the biggest surprise this season and why. Here's what you guys had to say. First off, definitely Curse. Watching them grow from forever 4th into absolute domination this spring season has been so impressive.
And we've kind of just grown accustomed to them being the first place team. People forgot a lot of the time that they were never the first place team in North America until this season. I think a lot of that just has to go with team communication, and the acquisition of Oiboy just worked out so well for Curse, so I'd agree with that one.
Yeah. Second up, we have another answer, and it's definitely Counter Logic Gaming. Their inconsistency has plagued them into possible elimination.
And this is the other side of the coin, right? Because everyone expected COG to be great rather than they kind of expected Curse to be a little bit mediocre. So COG is permanently inconsistent. They need to pick up something because they're consistent in scrims. That's what they got down. It's the strangest set of problems for COG.
It's going to be an interesting thing for them, of course, as they show up to Super Week. Now, got another answer, and it's Good Game University. Started 2-10 after the first Super Week and are now back in the playoff hunt.
And that is just so crazy because Daydreamin' was the most unexpected thing of all. People thought they were dead in the water, 8th place for sure when he came in, and since then they're 4-2. So those were some great answers, and we'd love to see some more. So hit us up at LOL eSports and use the hashtag LCS.
Okay, guys, we've got good news. We still have 3 more huge matches coming up today. First, Counter Logic Gaming looks to shut down second-place TSM and their Wild Turtle.
After that, Daydreamin' and crew try to bounce back from their loss when they take on St. Vicious and first-place Curse. And then, Dignitas desperately needs a win to keep second place in their sights when they battle CLG.
Plus, we'll break down everything you need to know about the League of Legends All-Star game and reveal the All-Star rosters. Stick around.